Welcome back to Cake With It. I am your host, Jerry, and today we are making a Pokemon cake, a Pikachu cake. Yeah, it worked. So for today's episode, we gotta bake them all. Pokemon. Now, I loved Pokemon when I was a kid, and I outgrew that for Digimon. It's just my opinion. But my Pokemon was always Pikachu, and yes, I'm basic because of that. So today, I'm going to teach you how to make Pikachu with my chiffon cake. Banana flavor, too. So, you got to catch them all. I'm using my chiffon cake recipe for this, and I'm just going to trim and level the top of all of my cakes. I'm going to soak my cakes in simple syrup, and that's 1 cup of water, 1 cup of sugar, and you boil it. But for this one, I added vanilla flavor to it. And I'm making it banana flavor because Pikachu tastes like banana, I assume. So I'm going to cut 2 bananas and then slice them into thick pieces. And to make it special, I'm going to macerate it with simple syrup and vanilla extract. I'm going to slice my cakes into 2 layers. I'm going to do that to every cake. And then I'm going to put buttercream in the center. And I'm going to arrange all the macerated bananas on a nice even layer. And I'm going to do that just to the first 2 layers of my cake. I added straws to hold the top layer. You could add cake dowels, and then I did a small custom cutout board on the bottom, and I add my second tier on top. I then measure with my tape measure to make sure that my base is at least 6 inches tall, and that's going to be Pikachu's body. And then I'm going to cut the cake again, and I'm going to put banana flavored buttercream, and then put my macerated bananas, and it's important to put them in 1 even layer. So I know that the Star Wars cake, we had technical difficulties, and I take the blame. But I'd rather give you something than give you nothing, because come on, the cake speaks for itself. And if you haven't checked that cake out, I'll put a link on the top corner eye thingy or on the description, and make sure you check it out and you share with everyone. That was really an awesome cake. I used my 8-inch cake pan that I used to bake the cakes, and I'm just going to use that to mark where the front of my Pikachu is and where the back of my Pikachu is. Then I go back and I refine the cuts for the front and for the back of the Pikachu, just to make sure I have a good clear vision of how it looks. On the front side, I carved the left and right side on an angle, and that's where my Pikachu thighs will go. And then I carve upwards to make sure that Pikachu's top body is tapered. I realized I didn't cut enough, so I go back and I cut more on an angle to make the thighs more pronounced. Using my paring knife, I cut 2 triangles so that I could redefine his belly, and then I carve out the center just to make the belly stand out more. So I think I broke it, but I'm not going to name you Amazon seller. Not only was it defective when I got it, yeah, I threw it, but that's a whole different thing. Pikachu was already dead when I got it, like it was facing down and the ball opened the other way around. So I'm not gonna say who it was, but he was already dead. So an ode to all the dead Pikachus. Yeah, that sounds bad. Like and comment and subscribe to the channel. Share with all the other Pokemon lovers, and if you're a Digimon lover, you could like this too. And make sure, I know there's a lot of you Pokemon out there, Pokemon lovers. It takes 1 second, so make sure you like the video and share it. I use any leftover banana buttercream and I'm gonna crumb coat the body of Pikachu. I ended up baking 1 extra 8-inch cake because I wanted it taller, and I'm just going to cut them all in half. And I'm going to use a custom cake board to put it on top of it. I'm going to buttercream and sandwich all 8-inch cakes, stack them on top of each other. And I'm not going to use any banana, but I'm still going to use the banana buttercream I have. I measure the 8-inch cakes and I want to make sure that it matches the 6-inch body. And I'm going to begin to shape it. So I'm going to carve around the edges to start off my circle. And I'll just carve up and down to make sure I get a nice round shape. Once I have the shape I want, I am going to crumb coat Pikachu's head. And I'm going to make sure I catch all those crumbs because it needs to be smooth as possible because this will be his face. And then I'm going to chill it. I take Pikachu's body off the fridge and I begin to put my final coat of buttercream, and this one is very important, and I do the same thing with the head. I make sure I cover everything and make sure I get the shape of the actual head. And then you know what time is it, the most important time before covering in fondant. So you know what time is it? You know what time is it? It's chill time. Chill time. When you have the letters come out, chill. Chill your chiffon cake because this is the hardest cake to carve. So you will have to chill it like for a couple hours or freeze it. Put it in the freezer and it'll be good. It'll be all gravy. I dye some fondant Pikachu yellow. Yes, there is such thing as Pikachu yellow. And then I roll it out enough so that it fits the body, and I fold the fondant in half and then put it on top of the body and unfold it. Then I'm going to use my hands to smooth it out as much as I can, and I'll use my X-Acto knife to trim out any extra fondant. I roll out more yellow fondant and I use that to cover Pikachu's head. And because it's round, it's a little more tricky, so you use your hand to guide the fondant into the natural spot that it wants to go to. And then I'll use my fingers to indent the edges of the cake. And I'll smooth it out with my fondant smoother and trim any extra pieces. I use straws again, but you can use cake dowels. And I put one in the front, but I noticed that the back is a little bit on an angle, so I leave it a little longer before I put my next custom cutout board on top. And then I'm going to add buttercream to make sure it stays together before I go and add Pikachu's head. I use my X-Acto knife to trim out a stencil that I printed out because I'll need help with the eyes and the mouth. I roll some black fondant and use a piping tip the size of his eyes, and I glue that to Pikachu's face using water. I grab a little ball and then shape it into his nose and put that for his nose. I rolled out some brown fondant, and using the same tip for his eyes, I cut out crescent shapes of brown and add that to the bottom using water to create Pikachu's eye color, which is brown. I rolled out white fondant, and using a smaller tip I cut out smaller round shapes, and I'm going to glue that to his eyes to create Pikachu's catch light on his eye. I roll out red fondant and use a tip slightly larger than his eye to cut out cheeks for him. I have two different shades of red, one darker and one lighter, and I use my stencil to cut out the darker, which is the top part of the mouth, and the lighter one, which will be his tongue. And I'm going to glue that to Pikachu using water, placing the top part, which is the mouth, and again the tongue, which is the pink part. I use a very fine brush, and I'm going to paint the outline of Pikachu's mouth using black food coloring. I grab a piece of fondant and I roll it out to make it look like his arms and a paw, and then I'll cut out with scissors his fingers, and I'll use my fondant tool to smooth out in between his fingers, and I'll do that too for his feet. I'll roll out some fondant and I'll shape it into a paw. I use my fondant tool to draw out the outlines of his toe, and I'll use an edge to create a crease in between the toes. I roll out fondant about 5 inches long and a little bit thicker than normal, and I'm going to shape the ear, and I will cut 2 identical ears. I roll out extra black fondant, and I'm going to use water to soak the top of Pikachu's ear, and I'm going to put the fondant piece in there on both sides of the ear to create the black part of Pikachu's ear, and I'll fold it back and trim anything that I need to trim. I use a straw to attach Pikachu's feet and make sure that it stays in place. I use 2 more straws to attach Pikachu's arms, and I insert it down on an angle, and then I press the arm firmly, making sure it stays attached. I use 2 more straws to attach each dry ear. But how do you catch a Pokemon cake? Very simple. It's not simple. So it's time to cut out Pikachu, and I'm so sorry, but he tastes so good. And is it cannibalism if I feed Pikachu Pikachu? So if you haven't checked out all the other awesome cake videos, make sure you check them out. I'll put a link on the description. You have a Star Wars cake, a fake ice cream cake made with no ice cream, but it looks like ice cream. We have, Alex, what do we have?
A dead Pikachu.
A dead Pikachu. They're watching now. What else do we have?
Macaron.
A macaron cake. So I'll put all the pictures of all the cakes on the website so that you could click and go back and see them. Also, if you want a dead Pikachu with a broken Pokeball, make sure you show me that you're subscribed, you like the video, and you comment what cake do you want to see be made. And if yours gets picked, I will ship this dead Pikachu to you, directly to you, whoever wants this. Make sure you comment on the video, share it, subscribe, and like. And you could DM me on my Twitter when I pick you. I put all my social media so you could follow me to see what a chef does when you're not in the kitchen.